All right, I'm Greg Merrick. We're here at Arctic Region Standard Battle. XVM for this battle shows us with a 40% win rate. We'll try to change that. Notable players in my side of the battle is myself and my Type 58, and our friendly Fasten in his Panzer Tank Destroyer. I've platooned with two new players. They're not very good right now, but they're getting better. On the enemy team, the enemy Chiri looks like a solid player, as does the enemy Panther and Type 58. Alright, let's begin. Initially here, I'm thinking of advancing to the north, because none of the players on my platoon are good enough to hold have the armor or the skill without the armor to hold the valley here to the east. So we're going to go ahead and do a northern push. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit and lock in my view. I have a favorite spot up here in the bushes. If you decide to play against me and shoot this bush blind, I guess I can't blame you. And I'm going to go ahead, crawl up to my bush slowly here, and try to get some sightings on some tanks. Now if I break away here, I'm going to look around behind me, and the rest of the team is beginning to catch up. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward that too, because nothing interesting is going to happen for a moment. Alright, friendly IS, he sights a few people in the distance, makes himself a solid target as well. Personally, I've sighted in this ARL-44. He looks like he's got a star next to his name showing a stock turret. At this distance, my 85mm cannon has some issues penetrating his armor. I believe it's 120 average penetration. I think I have to roll on the upper end of that to penetrate him. But we ended up helping to take him down, and of course we trade our IS for that ARL-44. I think we got the short end of that stick. But in the valley, they've also decided to take out a few Tier 6s. I get a little bit of a late start at shooting at these anti-tank pieces on the hill, and I don't think we're going to spot them again until near the end. I'm going ahead and I'm shooting out some blind spots in case somebody got tracked and is still taking damage. I don't know whether or not that ended up helping or hurting or not doing a damn thing. Alright, still waiting for people to get lit up. At this point, I think I've decided that it's about time that my platoon member here in the KV-1S decides to push. He doesn't have his big 122, he's got an 88mm like me. Other than that, his tank is pretty set. So he's a very new player, but I ask him to go ahead and start advancing, and he doesn't do so right away. And so I try talking him into it. I decide in just a second here that I'm going to go ahead and hold his hand down this hill. I told him, just go ahead Taco, I'll be right behind you. There's Taco right over there. And you can see his win rate on his head there, 44%. Not too fantastic, but not too shabby for somebody with less than 1,000 games. I'm going to take a blind shot at the M4, you never know. And a little not too happy face there, telling me I've been spotted. Not a big deal. I'm not going to give him too much to shoot at. I'm rolling up here, thinking I might roll over, and deciding that was probably a terrible idea. Trying to sight in on these tanks as my new player that I brought into this game is deciding to try to go suicide himself. But I yell at him, tell him to stay in the ditch and shoot at anything he can see while he's in the ditch. We're sighting in on some tanks here. They've lined up nice for us here, leaving themselves in the open. Having some trouble penetrating this KV-1's turret. I'm sure the ground's not helping. M4 got in the way. Hopefully he took out his gun. Completely by accident, but I'll take it. And he's going to put himself in harm's way again. I'll make sure he pays for that. He'll probably hide in his hole now for the rest of the match. Still trying to penetrate this KV-1, having my share of trouble. At least he's not returning effective fire. And between me and one of the young men behind me, we managed to kill him. One Tier 5 tank out of the way. Looks like the Valley Push is also doing well. They've dealt more than they've taken. The enemy still has their Chiri Panther and E25. I do not believe we have to deal with the Chiri at this end of the battle. So I figure all we've got left here is an M4, so I advance and run smack dab into a T25. But I decide, since I've got a fairly thick turret, he might have some trouble penetrating me, as long as he doesn't shoot my commander's cupola, so I juke back and forth a little bit, give him a little bit of a harder target, and he retreats further. I'm going to see if I can't finish off this M4 or do a little bit more damage to this T25. And my new player partner over here, he drives a little bit further to the right and gets himself brutally murdered. Of course, I decided to do exactly the same thing and found myself getting shot multiple times by the units on the ridge. Luckily, my friend died earlier, though, and provided very convenient cover for me. Just still sighting in on this Chiri. I was wrong, obviously. He did decide to participate in this end of the battle. A lot of the tier 7s were over here. And then the enemy Panther. I know I'm going to have trouble penetrating him, but I want to give him a good respect for the fact that I've still got a gun here, though. I'm thinking about sighting in at his cupola here, but I know that my gun is not all that accurate. And I don't want to risk getting full aim and letting him shoot my cupola with his much more accurate gun, and my only 24 hit points remaining. Still trying to get a shot in. Looks like I arced that down just at the base of his turret and hurt him a little bit. As my team begins to advance around me. And I finally take a hit from a Stug who rolled into a good position. Smart move by the Stug there. At this point, we're winning pretty solidly. There's very little chance of them claiming victory at this point, as my platoon mate here, Amoheen, apparently a mountain in Mordor, that was where the name came from, he circles around and gets a little revenge on that Panther for me. And him being a new player, he doesn't move right after the kill. That's a good tip for new players. As soon as you're done firing, start moving. If there's enemy artillery or enemies aiming at you, you start moving, you're a little bit harder of a target. And that's it. So, we ended up with about 1,900 total damage on a total of 12 hits. I put a little bit of a hurting on the ARL-44, and I did most of the damage to that Chiri. Other than that, we did a lot of spotting. We did a lot of helping our team win that front. Okay, until next time. This is Greg Merrick. I'll see you next game.